My mother-in-law pulled me aside at the wedding and said, "You've been adequate for my son, but he deserves someone from our circle." She introduced his college sweetheart. Everyone smiled. I walked to the microphone and revealed one truth that made her faint. My mother-in-law's hand was cold when she gripped my elbow. The reception was in full swing. 200 guests filled the grand ballroom of the Ashford estate, crystal chandeliers casting warm light over white tablecloths and centerpieces that cost more than my monthly rent. The band was playing something jazzy and sophisticated. Olivia, my wife of exactly 3 hours, was across the room laughing with her bridesmaids, her dress catching the light like she was made of stars. Catherine Ashford, my new mother-in-law, 61 years old, former ballet dancer turned socialite philanthropist, pulled me toward the French doors that led to the garden terrace. Her smile was practiced, the kind that didn't reach her eyes, the kind she'd probably perfected at 1,000 charity galas where she had to pretend to care about people she considered beneath her. "We need to talk," she said. Her voice was silk over steel. Privately, I followed her outside. The October air was crisp, carrying the scent of dying leaves and expensive perfume. The terrace overlooked manicured gardens, topiaries shaped like swans, a fountain imported from Italy. Catherine had insisted on this venue. Insisted on everything, really. The flowers, the menu, the guest list, the timeline. Olivia had wanted something smaller, something intimate, but Catherine had written the check, and Catherine got what Catherine wanted. That was how the Ashford family worked. Money talked. Everyone else listened. She turned to face me, and her expression shifted. The polite mask she'd worn all day cracked just enough for me to see what was underneath. Contempt. Pure, undiluted contempt. "You've been adequate for Olivia," she said. The word adequate landed like a slap. "You're stable, employed. You don't have any obvious vices or criminal record. You've served your purpose during a difficult time in her life." She paused, smoothed an invisible wrinkle from her champagne-colored dress. "But my son deserves better than adequate. He deserves someone who understands his world, someone from his circle, someone with the right breeding and background." I stared at her. For a second, I thought I'd misheard. "Your son?" She gestured back toward the ballroom. Through the glass doors, I could see someone I didn't recognize. Tall, probably early 30s, expensive suit, the kind of handsome that came from good genes and better skincare. He was talking to Olivia. She was smiling, but it was a confused smile, a polite smile, the kind you give strangers at parties. "That's Andrew Whitmore," Catherine said. "Olivia's first love. They met at Yale, dated for 3 years. Would have married if certain circumstances hadn't interfered." My brain was trying to process what I was hearing. "We just got married," I said slowly. 3 hours ago. You were at the ceremony. You smiled. You cried during the vows." Catherine waved her hand dismissively. "Theater, darling. Social obligation. Gregory and I have been planning this for months. Olivia made a mistake choosing you. She was vulnerable after the incident. You were convenient, safe, a rebound decision dressed up as love. But she's stronger now, stable, ready to rejoin her proper social sphere. Andrew's ready too. He's made partner at Whitmore and Sterling. His family owns half of Connecticut. This is what's best for everyone." I looked through the glass doors again. Andrew Whitmore was still talking to Olivia. My wife of 3 hours. Catherine's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, smiled. "That's Gregory. He's introducing them properly now, reminding Olivia of their history, the summers in the Hamptons, the galas, the future they should have had." She looked at me with something that might have been pity if it wasn't so condescending. "You should leave quietly. We'll handle the annulment. You'll be compensated, of course. $50,000 for your trouble. Enough to start over somewhere else, somewhere more suitable for someone of your background." I'd been with Olivia for 2 years. Met her at a nonprofit fundraiser where I was working as an event coordinator. She'd been volunteering, serving food to homeless veterans, her hands dirty, her smile genuine. We'd talked for 4 hours that night. About everything. About nothing. About her struggles with depression after an assault during her junior year at Yale. About my childhood in foster care, bouncing between homes, learning to trust slowly. About building something real in a world that felt increasingly fake. We'd fallen in love slowly, carefully, like people who'd both been hurt before and knew the value of going slow. And now her mother was telling me it had all been a mistake, a phase, a charity case that had outlived its usefulness. If you are enjoying this story already, please subscribe to see more stories like this. "No," I said. Catherine blinked. "Excuse me? No, I'm not leaving. I'm not taking your money. Olivia chose me. We chose each other." Catherine's expression hardened. "You don't understand your position. This family has resources you can't imagine. Lawyers, connections. We will make this go away, and we will make you go away, one way or another. The easy way is you take the money and leave quietly. The hard way involves us exposing every detail of your past. The foster homes, the sealed juvenile record, that assault charge when you were 16, even though it was dismissed. We'll bury you socially and professionally." Something cold settled in my stomach. "How do you know about my juvenile record?" "That's sealed." She smiled. "Money opens doors. And files." I looked back through the glass. Gregory Ashford, Olivia's father, 64, retired hedge fund manager, was guiding Olivia and Andrew toward a quiet corner. Olivia's bridesmaids were watching, confused. Some of the guests were starting to notice. "Does Olivia know about this?" I asked. "About your plan?" Catherine shrugged. "Not yet, but she will, and she'll understand. She always does. Olivia knows her duty to this family." I pulled out my phone. Catherine frowned. "What are you doing?" "Texting my lawyer." Her laugh was sharp. "Your lawyer? Please. Whatever bargain attorney you have on retainer can't compete with our legal team." I finished typing. Hit send. Looked up at her. "Want to bet?" Before she could respond, I walked back into the ballroom. Every eye in the room turned toward me. The band stopped playing. Gregory was mid-sentence, his hand on Andrew's shoulder, talking to Olivia like they were all old friends reminiscing. Olivia saw me. Relief flooded her face. "There you are," she said. I was starting to worry. "This is Andrew. He and I knew each other at Yale. Apparently he just flew in from London. Dad says he wanted to surprise us." Andrew extended his hand. His grip was firm, confident. "Congratulations, man. Olivia's an amazing woman. You're a lucky guy." His smile was perfect. Too perfect. The smile of someone who knew he was about to take something that didn't belong to him. I didn't shake his hand. Instead, I walked to the microphone at the front of the room, the one I was supposed to use for the toast I'd prepared. Catherine's face went white. She started moving toward me, but she was across the room. Too far. Too slow. I tapped the microphone. Feedback squealed. Everyone went quiet. 200 faces turned toward me. Olivia's uncle, the senator, her cousin, the news anchor, her father's business associates, her mother's society friends, the people who mattered in their world. "Good evening, everyone," I said. My voice was steady, calmer than I felt. "I know this is unusual, but I need to share something. Something important. Something that just came to light." Catherine was shoving through the crowd now. Gregory's face had gone from confused to alarmed. Andrew was frozen. Olivia was walking toward me, concerned. "Sweetheart, what's wrong?" she asked. I pulled out my phone again, connected it to the venue's AV system. The screens around the room, the ones that had been showing our wedding photos, our love story timeline, suddenly switched to a different image. A document. A legal document. "This," I said, "is a prenuptial agreement, drafted 6 months ago by Catherine and Gregory Ashford. It stipulates that if Olivia and I divorce within the first 5 years of marriage, I receive nothing. No assets, no alimony, nothing." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Olivia's eyes widened. "I never saw this," she said. "We never signed a prenup." "Because I refused to sign it," I said. "Your mother presented it to me in April, told me it was standard, told me that if I really loved you, I'd have no problem signing it because I wouldn't be planning to divorce you anyway." I said no, told her that our relationship wasn't a business transaction. I switched to the next image. This is the second version of that agreement, presented to me in June. This one included a clause where I would agree never to have children with you. Your mother's reasoning was that children would complicate inheritance issues. The crowd was silent now. You could hear breathing. Nothing else. Olivia was staring at her mother. Catherine had stopped moving. Her face was red, her hands clenched. "I refused that one too," I continued. "So your mother got creative." Next image. This is a private investigator's report, dated August 15th, hired by Catherine Ashford to find, quote, "actionable intelligence that could be used to remove Thomas Blackwell," that's me, "from Olivia's life. The investigator charged $35,000 to dig through my past, contacted my former foster parents, bribed a clerk to access my sealed juvenile records, attempted to contact my biological mother, who I haven't seen since I was 4 years old, and who signed away her parental rights." Olivia's hand was over her mouth. "Mom, what did you do?" Catherine finally found her voice. "This is private family business. Turn that off. Now." I ignored her. Next image. This is a text message exchange between Catherine Ashford and Andrew Whitmore, dated September 3rd, 6 weeks ago. Catherine writes, "Olivia's making a terrible mistake. The wedding is in October. We need you back here before then. If we can remind her of what she gave up, she'll come to her senses." Andrew's face had gone from confident to panicked. He started moving toward the exit. "This isn't what it looks like," he said. Andrew writes back, I continued reading from the screen. "I'll do whatever you need, Catherine. Olivia and I should have ended up together. Her current situation is beneath her. I can provide the life she deserves. When do you want me there?" Catherine responds, "The wedding is October 12th. Arrive during the reception. I'll handle the rest." The crowd erupted, voices overlapping. Shock, disgust. Olivia's father was staring at his wife like he'd never seen her before. "Catherine, please tell me this isn't true." Catherine's mouth opened, closed. No words came out. I switched to the next image. This is a cashier's check, $50,000, made out to Thomas Blackwell, dated today, October 12th, given to me approximately 10 minutes ago by Catherine Ashford on the terrace. The memo line reads, "Settlement for annulment." Olivia was crying now. Not pretty crying. Gut-wrenching sobs. Her maid of honor, Jessica, was holding her. "This entire plan," I said, "was orchestrated by my mother-in-law. She hired a private investigator. She contacted my ex-girlfriend, Andrew. She drafted multiple prenuptial agreements trying to protect the family fortune from someone she considered unworthy. And when none of that worked, when I married Olivia anyway, she decided to stage an intervention at our own wedding reception. I looked directly at Catherine. She was shaking. You told me I was adequate, that I served my purpose, that I was convenient, safe, a rebound. I paused. You were wrong about all of it. Next image. My financial records, my bank statements, my investment portfolio. My name is Thomas Blackwell. I grew up in foster care, aged out of the system at 18, put myself through community college working 3 jobs, graduated with honors, got a scholarship to finish my bachelor's at NYU, majored in business management, started working for a tech startup in 2015, was employee number 8. The company went public in 2019. My stock options are currently valued at $4.2 million. The silence was absolute. I'm also the founder of Second Chances Foundation, I continued, a nonprofit that provides scholarships and mentorship to foster youth. We've helped over 200 kids attend college. Our operating budget last year was $1.8 million, funded entirely through my personal investments and donations I've solicited from people who actually care about helping others, instead of just appearing to care at charity galas where you spend $50,000 on a table to network with other rich people. Catherine collapsed. Actually collapsed. Her legs gave out and she crumpled to the floor. Gregory rushed to her side. Someone called for a doctor. There was a physician in the crowd, Dr. Leonard Moss, Olivia's godfather. He hurried over, checked Catherine's pulse, her breathing. She's fainted, he announced. She needs air. Someone help me get her to a couch. They carried her out. The room was chaos. People talking, whispering, filming on their phones. Olivia pushed through the crowd to me. Her makeup was destroyed. Her eyes were red. Is this real? She asked. All of it? I showed her my phone, the investigator's report, the text messages, the check, the financial records, everything. She read through it all. Her hands were shaking. I didn't know, she whispered. I swear I didn't know she was doing this. I know. She looked toward the doors where they'd taken her mother. She tried to ruin our wedding. She tried to ruin us. Her voice broke. What do we do? I thought about it. About Catherine's contempt. About Andrew's predatory smile. About Gregory's complicity. About the $50,000 check burning a hole in my pocket. We cut the cake, I said. We dance our first dance. We celebrate our marriage. And then we decide what happens next. Olivia nodded, wiped her eyes, turned to face the crowd. Everyone, she said, her voice stronger than I expected. I apologize for the disruption. My husband just exposed something I had no knowledge of, a betrayal by my own mother. She paused. I want to make something very clear. I married Thomas because I love him, because he's kind and honest and real in a way that most people in this room could never understand. My mother's actions are unforgivable, and they don't represent me or what I believe. She took my hand. So yes, we're going to cut the cake. We're going to dance. We're going to celebrate, because this is our day, and no one gets to take that from us. The crowd didn't know what to do. Some people started clapping. Others were still whispering, shocked. The band started playing again, tentatively. Olivia and I walked to the cake, cut it together, fed each other pieces while cameras flashed. She kissed me, and it tasted like frosting and salt from her tears. I love you, she whispered against my lips. I love you too. We danced. Our first dance as husband and wife. The song was Can't Help Falling in Love, the Elvis version. Olivia had chosen it months ago. She rested her head on my shoulder, and I could feel her trembling. What happens now? She asked quietly. With my parents, with all of this. That's up to you, I said. They're your family. She was quiet for a long time. The song ended. Another started. We kept dancing. They're not my family, she finally said. Not if they think love is something you can buy or control or arrange like a business merger. You're my family now. 3 hours later, the reception was winding down. Most guests had left, probably rushing home to gossip about what they'd witnessed. Catherine had recovered enough to leave with Gregory. They hadn't said goodbye, hadn't apologized, just left through a side entrance, avoiding eye contact. Andrew Whitmore had disappeared sometime during the chaos. Olivia's father's business associate, someone named Gerald, mentioned seeing him get into an Uber around 10 o'clock, looking humiliated. If this story keeps your interest, please subscribe to get more stories like this. Olivia and I sat in the now empty ballroom, shoes off, exhausted. I need to tell you something, she said. Okay. She took a deep breath. After the assault at Yale, I was a mess, depressed, anxious. I dropped out for a semester, came home. My parents were horrified, not because of what happened to me, but because of how it looked. A daughter who couldn't handle Ivy League pressure. They sent me to a therapist, Dr. Margaret Lansing, but only because the therapist was part of their social circle and could be trusted to be discreet. I waited. She continued. Dr. Lansing helped, actually. She was the one who encouraged me to volunteer, to do something that mattered instead of just existing in my parents' world. That's how I ended up at the Veterans Fundraiser. That's how I met you. She looked at me. My mother hated it. Hated that I was spending time with people she considered beneath us. Hated that I was happy doing something that didn't involve country clubs or galas. When I told her about you, about us, she smiled and said she was happy for me. But I should have known better. Catherine doesn't give up control that easily. You couldn't have known she'd do this, I said. Maybe not this exactly, Olivia agreed. But I knew she was manipulative. I knew she valued appearance over substance. I just didn't think she'd go this far. She paused. I want to cut them off. Financially, emotionally, everything. Is that wrong? I thought about my childhood. About foster homes where I wasn't wanted. About learning early that family wasn't always blood. That sometimes the people who were supposed to love you were the ones who hurt you most. No, I said. It's not wrong. It's self-preservation. Monday morning, I received a call from Rebecca Steinberg, my attorney. She was 53, Harvard Law, 28 years of experience, most of it in contract law and litigation. I'd hired her 2 years ago when the startup I worked for went public, and I suddenly needed proper legal representation. Thomas, she said when I answered, I saw your text from Saturday. Also saw the videos. It's all over social media. Are you okay? I'm fine. Olivia's struggling. Understandable. Listen, I need to ask. Do you want to pursue legal action against Catherine Ashford? The private investigator she hired potentially violated several laws accessing your sealed records. The attempted bribery could be construed as coercion, and the text messages indicate conspiracy to commit fraud, specifically fraudulent inducement to enter into an annulment. I put the phone on speaker so Olivia could hear. We were in our apartment, the one-bedroom place in Brooklyn we'd lived in together for 8 months. Small, nothing fancy, but ours. What would that look like? I asked. Rebecca's voice was measured. We could file a civil suit for damages, emotional distress, invasion of privacy, defamation if she spreads any false information from your sealed records. We'd be looking at substantial damages, potentially in the high 6 figures depending on what a jury awards. We could also file criminal complaints, though those would be up to the district attorney to pursue. Olivia was shaking her head. I don't want money from them. I just want them to leave us alone. Understood, Rebecca said. Then I'd recommend a cease and desist letter. Make it clear that any further contact, any further investigation, any attempt to interfere in your lives will result in immediate legal action. It's a warning shot. Most people with something to lose back down when they realize you're serious and have competent representation. Do it, I said. Draft the letter. Send it to both Catherine and Gregory, and include Andrew Whitmore. He was part of this. Consider it done. I'll have it drafted by end of business today. You'll review it tomorrow, and we'll send it via certified mail and email by Thursday. She paused. Thomas, I know this is difficult, but document everything. Keep copies of those text messages, the investigator's report, the check, any future communications. If this escalates, we'll need a paper trail. Already done. I have backups of everything. Good man. Call me if anything changes. We hung up. Olivia was crying again, quietly. I held her. I'm sorry, she said. For what? For my family. For putting you through this. For not seeing what she was capable of. You have nothing to apologize for. You didn't do this. She did. Wednesday afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Thomas Blackwell? The voice was male, professional, unfamiliar. Speaking. My name is David Kowalski. I'm a private investigator. I was hired by Catherine Ashford to investigate you earlier this year. I sat up straighter, turned on the voice recorder app on my phone. I remember. Your report was very thorough. That's why I'm calling. What Mrs. Ashford asked me to do crossed several ethical and legal lines. Accessing sealed juvenile records, contacting your biological mother without your consent, attempting to bribe a court clerk. I did those things because she was paying me $25,000 up front with a promise of another $10,000 if I found something useful. Why are you telling me this? Because I've been doing this job for 19 years, and I've never felt as dirty as I did working for that woman. She wanted me to destroy you, not just investigate. Destroy. She specifically asked me to find anything that could be used to, quote, eliminate him from the picture. When I told her your record was clean except for a dismissed assault charge from when you were 16, she asked me to falsify evidence, to create documentation suggesting you had a violent history. My hands clenched. Did you? No, I refused. She threatened to sue me for breach of contract. I told her to go ahead, that I'd testify about everything she'd asked me to do. She backed down. So why call me now? Because I saw what happened at your wedding. The videos everywhere, and I realized that woman is still trying to destroy you. I want to help. I'll testify if you need me to. I'll provide copies of all my communications with her, the original contract, everything. No charge. Consider it penance for the parts I did do that I shouldn't have. I thought about it. Send everything to my attorney, Rebecca Steinberg at Steinberg & Associates. She'll know what to do with it. Will do. And Thomas? Yeah? For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I hope you and your wife have a good life together. He hung up. I sat there for a long moment, processing. Then I called Rebecca. We just got more ammunition, I said, and told her about Kowalski. Thursday morning, Catherine called Olivia. First time since the wedding. Olivia's phone rang at 8:15 a.m. We were having breakfast, coffee, and toast. Nothing fancy. Olivia saw her mother's name on the caller ID. Her hand shook. Don't answer if you're not ready, I said. She answered. Put it on speaker. Mom. Catherine's voice was cold. Olivia, we need to talk about your husband's behavior at the wedding. His public humiliation of our family. The damage he's done to our reputation. Olivia's jaw tightened. My husband exposed your plan to sabotage our marriage. He didn't humiliate you. You humiliated yourself. Don't be dramatic. I was trying to protect you from making a mistake. You were vulnerable after your incident at Yale. Thomas took advantage of that vulnerability. He's not suitable for this family. Stop calling it an incident, Olivia said, her voice rising. I was assaulted, raped, and instead of supporting me, you sent me to a therapist who was more concerned about our family's image than my recovery. Instead of letting me heal, you pushed me to maintain appearances. Thomas didn't take advantage of anything. He loved me when I couldn't love myself. Silence on the line. Then Catherine's voice, harder. If you don't end this marriage, you'll be cut off. Completely. No inheritance, no trust fund, no family support. I don't want your money, Olivia said. I want parents who actually care about me instead of caring about appearances. You're making a mistake you'll regret. The only mistake I regret is not seeing who you really were sooner. Olivia hung up. Her hands were shaking. She looked at me. Is this really happening? Am I really cutting off my parents? You're setting boundaries with people who tried to control your life. That's not cutting them off. That's self-preservation. She nodded. Okay. What do we do now? We live our lives. We be happy. We prove that love isn't something you can buy or manipulate or control. 2 weeks later, Rebecca called with an update. The cease and desist letters were delivered. Gregory Ashford's attorney called. He wants to negotiate. Negotiate what? I asked. He's proposing a mutual non-disclosure agreement. You and Olivia agree not to speak publicly about the wedding incident, and they agree to cease all contact and interference. Additionally, they're offering to establish a trust fund for any future children you might have. $2 million, accessible when the child turns 25. I laughed. They're trying to buy their way out of this? Appears so. Tell them no. We don't want their money. We don't want their trust funds. We want them to leave us alone. The cease and desist already covers that. If they violate it, we pursue legal action. End of negotiation. You're sure? Completely. All right. I'll inform their counsel. 3 days later, a different call. This time from Dr. Margaret Lansing, the therapist Catherine had sent Olivia to after Yale. Olivia, I know this is unexpected. I'm calling because I've seen what happened, and I need to tell you something I should have told you years ago. Olivia's face went pale. Dr. Lansing? Your mother paid me, not just for therapy sessions, but to report back to her. Everything you said in our sessions, she wanted to know. I refused most of the time, cited confidentiality, but she was persistent. She wanted me to encourage you to date within your social circle, to discourage relationships with people she deemed inappropriate. Olivia's hand went to her mouth. You told her about Thomas? No, I never told her about Thomas. By the time you mentioned him, I'd stopped reporting anything to your mother. I'd realized what she was doing was unethical and potentially harmful to you, but I wanted you to know that your privacy was violated. I'm calling to apologize and to offer to testify if you need me to. Catherine Ashford's behavior is pathological. She needs to be held accountable. Olivia was crying. Thank you. Thank you for telling me. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I'm sorry I was ever complicit in her manipulation. After the call ended, Olivia looked at me. How many people was she controlling? How many people were involved in this? I don't know, but it's over now. She can't control you anymore. 1 month after the wedding, Olivia and I received an invitation. Not from her parents. From Olivia's younger brother, Nathan, 26, software engineer, someone who'd always been distant from the family drama. The invitation was to Thanksgiving dinner at his apartment. Small gathering. Just Nathan, his girlfriend Riley, and us. No parents, no extended family. We went. Nathan's apartment was in Manhattan, small but comfortable. Riley was warm, funny, exactly the kind of person you wanted at a family dinner. Over turkey and stuffing, Nathan told us his own story. Mom tried the same thing with me, he said. 3 years ago, I was dating someone she didn't approve of. Emma, a public school teacher. Mom hired a private investigator, found out Emma had student loans, came from a working-class family. Mom tried to pay her to break up with me, offered her $100,000. What happened? Olivia asked. Nathan looked sad. Emma took the money, said she couldn't turn down that kind of financial security. I was devastated. Stopped dating for 2 years. Only recently met Riley. Riley squeezed his hand. I told Nathan early on about my background. My dad's a mechanic. My mom's a nurse. We're comfortable but not wealthy. When Nathan told me about his family, I braced for the investigation. It came about 2 months in. Catherine's investigator contacted my parents, asked invasive questions. My dad told him to fuck off. She smiled. That's when I knew this relationship was worth fighting for. We're planning to elope, Nathan said. Get married quietly. Don't tell the parents until after. Can't sabotage a wedding that already happened. Olivia hugged her brother. I'm sorry. I didn't know she did that to you too. She's done it to everyone she thinks isn't good enough. It's who she is, but we don't have to let her win. 3 months after the wedding, Olivia got a job. Coordinator at a non-profit that provided legal aid to domestic violence survivors. The pay was modest, $48,000 a year, but she loved it. Came home every day talking about the cases she was helping with, the women she was supporting. She was happy in a way I'd never seen during the years she'd been trying to please her parents. We were happy. Simple life, Brooklyn apartment, weekend brunches, movie nights, normal couple things that felt extraordinary because we were finally free from her family's expectations. My startup stock continued to appreciate. I established a larger fund for Second Chances Foundation, started mentoring 3 foster kids personally, met with them weekly, helped with college applications, tried to be what I'd needed when I was their age. 6 months after the wedding, Andrew Whitmore called me. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Thomas, it's Andrew. I know you probably don't want to hear from me. You're right. I just wanted to apologize. What Catherine asked me to do was wrong. I was wrong to agree to it. I told myself I was doing it for Olivia, that I was saving her from a mistake. But really, I was just jealous. Jealous that she'd found happiness without me. I waited. I'm in therapy now, working through some things, realizing I've spent my life doing what other people thought I should do instead of figuring out what I actually want. Catherine promised me that Olivia was unhappy, that she regretted choosing you, that she needed rescuing. It wasn't true, and I should have verified before flying across the Atlantic to crash your wedding. Is there a point to this call? I asked. Just to say I'm sorry, and that I'm glad Olivia found someone who actually loves her for who she is. You're a better man than I ever was. He hung up. I told Olivia about the call later. She shrugged. Too little, too late. But at least he acknowledged it. Do you ever miss them? I asked. Your family? Your old life? She thought about it. Sometimes I miss who I thought they were. The idea of parents who loved unconditionally. But I don't miss who they actually are. And my old life was a performance. This is real. This is better. 1 year after the wedding, Catherine tried one last time. She showed up at our apartment, knocked on the door on a Saturday morning. Olivia answered. I was in the kitchen making coffee. Mom, I heard Olivia say. Her voice was shocked. What are you doing here? I came to apologize, Catherine said. May I come in? Olivia looked back at me. I shrugged. Her choice. She let Catherine in. Catherine looked older, smaller somehow, less imposing. She sat on our couch, hands folded in her lap. I've been in therapy, she said. Court mandated. Actually, your father filed for divorce 6 months ago. Part of the settlement required me to undergo psychological evaluation and treatment. Olivia's eyes widened. Dad left you? He said I'd become someone he didn't recognize, that my obsession with control had destroyed our family. Nathan won't speak to me. You won't speak to me. My therapist says I have narcissistic personality disorder with controlling behaviors stemming from my own childhood trauma. That's not an excuse. It's just an explanation. She looked at Olivia. I'm sorry for everything I did, for hiring the investigator, for inviting Andrew, for trying to pay Thomas to leave, for violating your therapy confidentiality, for treating your assault as an embarrassment instead of supporting you through trauma, for making love conditional on meeting my standards instead of accepting you for who you are. Olivia was crying. Why now? Why apologize now after a year of silence? Because my therapist won't sign off on my progress until I make amends with the people I've hurt. And because I watched the wedding video, really watched it, saw your face when Thomas was speaking, saw how devastated you were, and I realized I'd done that. I'd hurt my own daughter on the happiest day of her life because I couldn't let go of control. She paused. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I'm working on becoming better, and that I'm sorry. She stood up. That's all. I won't bother you again unless you reach out to me first. She left, walked out of our apartment and out of our lives. Olivia stood there for a long time, staring at the closed door. Do you believe her? I asked. I don't know, Olivia said. Maybe. Part of me wants to. Part of me thinks it's just another manipulation. What do you want to do? Nothing. Not yet. Maybe someday I'll be ready to have a relationship with her again. But not now. Now I just want to focus on us, on our life, on being happy. Okay, I said. That's okay. 2 years after the wedding, Olivia and I found out we were pregnant. We hadn't been trying, but we hadn't been preventing either. When the test came back positive, we cried together. Happy tears, scared tears, excited tears. Are we ready for this? Olivia asked. I don't know if anyone's ever really ready, but we'll figure it out together. 9 months later, our daughter was born. Amelia Rose, 7 pounds, 4 ounces, perfect in every way. When I held her for the first time, I thought about my own childhood, about never having parents who wanted me, about growing up feeling like I didn't belong anywhere. And I made a promise to that tiny human in my arms. She would always know she was wanted. She would always know she belonged. She would always know love wasn't conditional. We didn't tell Catherine or Gregory about the pregnancy, didn't invite them to the hospital. But Nathan came, Riley came, our chosen family, the people who'd supported us, who'd celebrated our love instead of trying to destroy it. Amelia was 3 months old when Catherine sent a letter, not email. Handwritten letter delivered by regular mail. Olivia opened it while I was feeding Amelia. I watched her read, saw her face change. What is it? I asked. She knows about Amelia. She congratulates us, says she's continued therapy, says she's sold the estate, donated most of her money to charity, says she's working at a women's shelter now, helping survivors of domestic violence rebuild their lives, says she understands if we never want to see her again, but if we ever change our minds, she'd like to meet her granddaughter. Just once. Olivia looked at me. What do you think? I think that's your decision. She's your mother. Amelia's your daughter. Whatever you choose, I'll support you. 3 weeks later, we met Catherine at a coffee shop in Manhattan. Neutral ground. She arrived early, sat in the corner, looked nervous. We brought Amelia in her carrier. Catherine stood when she saw us. Her eyes immediately went to the baby. She's beautiful, Catherine whispered. May I? Olivia hesitated, then nodded. Catherine sat down. We put Amelia's carrier on the table where Catherine could see her. Catherine didn't try to hold her, didn't try to touch her, just looked. She has your eyes, Olivia, and Thomas's nose. She smiled, and it looked genuine. No performance, no manipulation, just a grandmother looking at her grandchild. Thank you for letting me see her. I know I don't deserve it. You don't, Olivia said, but I'm trying to forgive you. Not for you, for me, because carrying around that anger is exhausting, and I want Amelia to grow up without that weight. Catherine nodded. That's wise. More wise than I ever was. We talked for an hour. Careful conversation. Surface topics. Catherine told us about her work at the shelter, about learning to help women escape controlling relationships, about recognizing her own patterns in their stories, about trying to become someone worth knowing. I can't undo what I did, she said, but I'm trying to make sure I don't do it again. To anyone. When we left, Catherine didn't ask when she could see us again. Didn't push. Just said thank you and goodbye. In the parking lot, Olivia looked at me. Was that a mistake? I don't know. Time will tell. But giving someone a chance to prove they've changed isn't a mistake. Just don't expect too much too fast. I won't. 3 years after the wedding, we moved. Bought a house in Queens. 3 bedrooms, backyard, good school district, space for Amelia to grow, space for the future. Catherine sent a housewarming gift. Not expensive. Just a framed photo of Olivia as a child. Smiling. Happy. A note attached. Before I ruined things. Before I made love conditional. I hope Amelia gets to be this happy her whole life. Love, Grandma Catherine. Olivia put the photo on the mantel. Not prominently. Just there. A reminder that people could change. That forgiveness was possible. That family was complicated. 5 years after the wedding, we had our second child. A son. Lucas Nathan. Named after Olivia's brother. This time we told Catherine. She sent flowers and a card. Didn't ask to visit. We invited her. One afternoon. Tea in our living room while the kids napped. She held Lucas for 5 minutes. Cried the entire time. I'm so grateful you let me be part of their lives, she said. Even in this small way. You're earning it, Olivia said. By doing the work. By respecting boundaries. By not trying to control things. It's harder than you'd think, Catherine admitted. Every instinct I have says to give advice. To suggest. To try to help in ways that aren't actually helpful. But my therapist says I have to sit with that discomfort. Learn that I don't get to control outcomes anymore. That must be difficult, I said. It is, but it's necessary. She looked at me. Thomas, I owe you a specific apology. I judged you based on surface things. Your car, your clothes, your background. I never bothered to learn who you actually were. And when I found out, when you exposed everything at the wedding, I was humiliated. Not because you were wrong, but because you were right. About everything. I had turned love into a transaction. I had valued appearance over substance. I had failed my daughter in the most fundamental way possible. Thank you, I said, for saying that. It doesn't fix anything, she said. But it's true, and you deserve to hear it. 10 years after the wedding, Olivia and I renewed our vows. Small ceremony, just us, the kids, Nathan and Riley and their 2 children, a few close friends. Catherine wasn't there. We didn't invite her, but we sent her a photo afterward. She sent back a card. You 2 proved me wrong about everything. I'm grateful for that. It made me a better person. Love, Catherine. That night, lying in bed, Olivia asked me, do you ever think about that dinner? The wedding reception? What would have happened if you hadn't exposed everything? Sometimes, I admitted. I think about how close we came to losing each other. How your mother almost succeeded in destroying us. What do you think would have happened? Honestly, I think you would have gone through with the annulment. Not because you didn't love me, but because the pressure would have been too much. Your whole family, Andrew, the expectations. You would have convinced yourself they were right. She was quiet. You're probably right. I was still so broken then. Still trying to please them. Still trying to earn love I thought was conditional. She rolled over to face me. Thank you for being strong enough for both of us that night. For standing up when I couldn't. We were strong together, I said. Just in different ways. She kissed me. I love you. Still. Always. I love you too. 15 years after the wedding, Catherine passed away. Ovarian cancer. Quick. Brutal. We were with her at the end. Her and Gregory, who'd remarried her 3 years after their divorce. Their therapist had helped them rebuild. Different relationship. Healthier boundaries. Real partnership instead of performance. In the hospital room, Catherine held Olivia's hand. I wasted so much time, she whispered. Being afraid. Being controlling. Thinking I knew what was best. You made amends, Olivia said. You changed. That matters. Tell Thomas something for me. You can tell him yourself. He's right here. Catherine looked at me. Her eyes were faded but clear. You were always good enough. Better than good enough. I was just too blind to see it. Thank you for loving my daughter the way she deserved. The way I should have loved her. Thank you for eventually letting me, I said. She smiled. Closed her eyes. Was gone 2 hours later. At the funeral, Andrew Whitmore showed up. Paid his respects. Told us he was married now, happy, had learned to choose love over ambition. Catherine reaching out to me that night was the worst thing that could have happened, he said. But it led me to therapy, to real self-examination, to meeting someone who wanted me, not my last name or my money. So in a weird way, I'm grateful for all of it. 20 years after the wedding, Amelia got married. She was 20, young but certain. Her husband was a teacher, kind, patient, not wealthy, perfect for her. At the reception, Amelia pulled me aside. Dad, did you really expose Grandma Catherine at your wedding? Nathan told me the story, but it seems too dramatic to be real. I showed her the video. Someone had filmed the whole thing. It had lived on social media for years before being taken down. She watched, eyes wide. That's insane. You really did that. I really did. Were you scared? Terrified, but more scared of losing your mother, of letting her family destroy what we had. She hugged me. Thank you for fighting for us, for our family, for showing me what love actually looks like. I looked across the room. Olivia was dancing with Lucas, who was 15 and embarrassed, but tolerating it. Nathan and Riley were laughing at some private joke. Gregory was sitting alone, older now, quieter, but present. Our chosen family, the people who'd stood by us, the people who'd learned and grown and changed. Love's worth fighting for, I told Amelia. But only if it's real, only if it's built on truth and respect and equality. Never let anyone make you feel like you have to earn it. Never let anyone treat it like a transaction. I won't, Dad. I promise. She went back to her husband. I found Olivia, pulled her onto the dance floor. What are you thinking about? She asked. About a dinner 20 years ago. About your mother pulling me onto a terrace and telling me I wasn't good enough. About proving her wrong. Olivia smiled. You didn't just prove her wrong. You changed everything. For me. For us. For our whole family. We changed it together. Yes, she agreed. Together. We danced. And for the first time in 2 decades, I didn't think about Catherine's contempt, or Andrew's predatory smile, or the crowd's shocked gasps. I just thought about this moment. This woman. This life we'd built from the ruins of her family's manipulation. And I realized that the best revenge really was building something so good, so real, so unshakable, that the people who tried to destroy it eventually had to admit they were wrong. Catherine had admitted it, had changed because of it, had spent the last 15 years of her life trying to make amends, and that was worth more than any dramatic confrontation, more than any public humiliation, more than any revenge fantasy. It was real change, real growth, real love winning in the end. 25 years after the wedding, I'm 63 years old. Olivia's 61. Amelia has 3 kids. Lucas has 2. We're grandparents. Our house is loud on holidays, messy, full of laughter and arguments and sticky hands and unconditional love. The kind of family I never had growing up. The kind I thought only existed in movies. And sometimes, when I'm watching Olivia help our granddaughter with homework, or Lucas teaching his son to ride a bike, I think about that moment on the terrace. Catherine's cold hand on my elbow, her dismissive voice. You've been adequate. And I smile. Because adequate turned into extraordinary. Placeholder turned into forever. And the man she thought wasn't good enough built a life so full of love that her own daughter chose it over everything the Ashford name could offer. That's the real ending. Not the dramatic revelation. Not the public exposure. Not the gasps and the videos and the gossip. The real ending is this. We won. Not by destroying them, but by building something they couldn't destroy. And that makes all the difference. If you enjoyed this, you'll definitely want to see the next ones too. So subscribe now and let me know your take in the comments.